Hi, Karthik.
Hi, Vinay.
So excited to have you here as a part of the Epic project that Alap is launching. And the idea of the Epic project being something where we look into contemporary conversations that find expression through the epics. And leading to that, so this is a 12-month or rather 11 episode series where we want to look at topics that are relevant in today's times. From the first one is going to be about emotional quotient, which we'll get to in a little while, but also taking the epics out of just a different time and space and applying them now. So, in that context, we reached out to you because we thought that we need to have stimulating conversations with people who are working in the current space and time context, and couldn't think of anyone better than with you. So, to everyone who's watching this, all of you must be familiar with Karthik's phenomenal work in the music space, in the space of activism, in the space of standing up for the things that need standing up for. So I think I'm going to have just a very free-whelming conversation with Karthik, where we just want to explore one particular aspect of how emotions find expression in the epic. I'm going to be doing a 1.5 hour long conversation on the emotional quotient, specifically looking at characters at the epics, which is going to be happening on February 19th at 8 p.m. Details of that will be provided in the post. But for now, to give you a snippet into how we're going to be approaching some emotions, I'm going to hand it over to Karthik, who has done so much of interesting research on this that's really fascinating for me as well. So over to you, Karthik.
Thank you so much, Vinay. On the onset, I would like to say that I'm very glad to be part of this conversation because we need such discussions to happen. And at a time like from the this beginning of the pandemic, we've all been so glued to our computer screens and mobile screens, and somewhere even as an artistic community, there is a huge feeding of the narcissistic ego.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
and as we delve more deeply into narcissism, we go away from emotions. So, what we need as artists to empathize with others, to understand intelligently what others require. So, I think emotional quotient and emotional intelligence is a very important factor in that regard. So, I'm glad to be part of this. So, when I heard when Akila asked me to do this, actually, the first thing that came to my mind was this piece that I'll just present briefly, which, according to me, shows beautifully how our epics and these timeless stories and characters can, induce in us that kind of reverberations, that kind of resonance of emotional quality. So I'm going to be using verses from this huge collection of Mahabharata called Kumara Vyasa's Bharata, or Karnata Bharata Katha Manjari.
Yes.
So it's a retelling of the Mahabharata, and like I've said earlier, I love retellings because retellings add more layers into what has been already told. So in this, a sequence where immediately after Draupadi Vastraparana, what happens? So most of us know the Draupadi Vastraparana sequence. I
Yeah.
don't think we
Yeah.
need to go into
Absolutely.
details of that. So what happens to Draupadi after that, according to this, the Kumaravyasa? So Draupadi does not speak. So she goes into this complete silence. She's frozen. She's frozen with all that has happened to her, and she does
Mm.
not speak to anybody. And so she is just like a stone. And then
Mm.
they walk out of the palace and they go into the forest. And at that time, so Krishna appears, and as soon as she looks at Krishna, so this is what is said to have happened. So this does, yeah. ಒರಳಿದಳು ದೆಸೆಯೊಡನೆ ಒರಲೆ ಮೀಗೆ ಹೊರಳಿದಳು ಹರಿಪಾದದಲ್ಲಿ ಮೈ ಮರೆದಳಂಗನೆ. She screamed, and the skies wailed and screamed back. She fell at Krishna's feet at once and melted there. ತನುವ ಮುಸುಕುವ ಕೇಶಪಾಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಕರಗಿದಳು, ಕಂದಿದಳು, ಭೃಗುಜಲದ ಒರೆ ಮುಕ್ಕಿತು, ಮೇಲೆ ಮೇಲೆ Mahishananganege. While she wept at his feet, her hair covered her, embraced her, and then she flowed like a melancholic river, ebbing like a wave, like a tide. ಪದಿಗಳೈವರು ಅಲ್ಜಿದರು ಧರ್ಮಸ್ಥಿತಿಯನರಿತು ಅವರಳುಕಿದರು ತತ್ಪಿತೃಪಿತಾಮಹ ಗುರುಗಳು ಅದಗಿದರವನಿಯನು ಬೀಗಿದು. I have 5 husbands, 5 of them. They stood scared. They said it is a law of the game of dice and you have nothing to do. They gave up and just stood there, not doing anything. And these kings, gurus, elders, they just stood in shame. They wanted to bury themselves in the ground and they did nothing. They did nothing. ಗತಿವಿಹೀನೆಗೆ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಅಣ್ಣ ನೀನೇ ಗತಿಯನಲು ಬಾಯ್ ಬಿಡಲು ಲಜ್ಜಾಸ್ಥಿತಿಯನಳುಹಿದ ದೈವನೀ ಮೈದೋರಿದೈತನಗೆ. With nobody to rescue me, I called out to you. Oh my brother, Krishna, I called out to you. And you just arrived from nowhere. You did not care for anyone. And you protected my honor. You discarded my shame away. You're my God, my parent, my everything, Krishna. And when she said that, Krishna replied, ಏಳು ತಾಯಿ ಸರೋಜಮುಖಿ ಪಾಂಚಾಲಿ ನೊಂದು ತಂಗಿಯನುತ ಕೃಪಾಳು ಕಂಬನಿದೊಡೆದು ಕೊಡಹಿದನು. Get up, dear Draupadi, my sister, Panchali. Are you in pain, dear? Were you hurt? Do not cry. Do not cry, he said, wiped her tears off and just caressed her face and held her. ಅವಯವದ ರಜದ ಮೇಲು ಮುಚ್ಚಳ ತೆರೆದ ತನುವಿನ ಹೇಳಿಕೆಯ ಶೋಕ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರೆ ಲೋಲಲೋಚನೆಗೆ ಮೀಗೆ ಹಿಕ್ಕಳಿಸಿ ತಡಿಗಡಿಗೆ like earth would break open. From within its core, burning lava would creep out. The lava of insult and frozen shame, depression and hurt erupted out of Draupadi's eyes. Her lotus eyes glimpsed and burst open with these tears, while her body shook and shivered and just crying. Draupadi was healed. So, this is the beautiful scene.
I'm finding it difficult to come back to a conversation after that because the scene is just so loaded, right? Like I got goosebumps at least 3 times just when listening to the idea of that insult turning into hot lava, right? Like that, and that scathing insult, that is what really drove the rest of that epic. And those emotions are valid. I think one of the things about expressing and understanding emotions is that a lot of toxic positivity teaches us that no, be eternally stead focused, don't let any other emotion come in. But a lot of these emotions have fantastic purposes, and also they're handled in extremely powerful ways. These emotions, the way she deals with it, right? Like you said, there were so many people there, not one said anything. She acknowledges that many of them wanted to just bury themselves right there, but they still didn't do anything. And that and the acknowledgement of that itself it's a powerful emotion. So it's just it's so really so difficult to come back to a normal conversation after something like that. But thank you so much for such a soulful rendition of that, Karthik. I think you lent yourself and you got lost in that as well. I could tell that. I think that's when real art emerges. Just it was something else.
Yeah, when I just also read it first time, I was just blown away by the imagery of
Yeah,
Draupadi melting in his Krishna's feet. And like I said in one of the discussions earlier, like we today talk, we see women around us being abused, and most of the women I know have gone through abuse. We do not talk about mental health and healing,
yeah,
and
yeah,
this chapter is about that. So
yeah,
Krishna has given her Akshaya Vastra. He has done
yeah.
everything for her, and he could have just left. But no, he comes back to heal his sister fully, because that
Absolutely,
healing touch, that love, that caress is what people require from their
absolutely,
brothers and fellow men. And as men, we need to learn. It's
absolutely.
not enough to build laws. As men, each of us need to learn what empathy is, and if somebody is hurt, we should know what to do. And all these chapters, all the epics and all that, I think teach us to become better humans. And
Absolutely.
while we bask in the glory of the beauty of this, so we should learn to be empathetic to humans around us who die daily. They're suffering and we see them.
Yeah,
So we should do what we can to help them, and that is very vital. I think movies
absolutely.
teach us that, and that is an emotional quotient for you. I
That
don't
is,
think that there can be
yeah.
anything better than shaping and teaching us what emotions are about.
That's what,
So
yeah, you said it. I mean, the idea is not to just look at this and intellectualize it again and say, oh, wow, it was great then. The question is, how am I taking this into my own life, into my own journey? And how is this making me a better person? Because that's something to teach us, and it's up to us to internalize that. So I'm so looking forward to this scene and so many other scenes that I would like to expand into great detail on February 19th. For those of you who are watching, details of where you can pick up your tickets, all of that is available. But a huge shout out and so much gratitude to Karthik for sharing with us this beautiful excerpt of what emotions from the epic can really do to us. And just a glimpse, I mean, those 2 3 minutes that he was singing, I got transported somewhere else, and I'm pretty sure that's the case with everyone else who's listening as well. So that's the power of raw emotions with that kind of soulful music, with coming from someone who is so immersed in what he does. So much gratitude. Thank you, Karthik.
thank
Uh,
you, thank you
thank
so much.
you.
Yeah, thank you, Vinay, and thank you, Akhila, and thank you, Alap, for doing all the wonderful work that you're doing. And I wish you all the success, and that this year bring a lot of amazing things out, and let our artistic community be enriched with all the work that you're doing.
Thank you for those good wishes. Looking forward to seeing all of you and you too, Karthik, on February 19th on
Sure.
for the emotional quotient, the first of the Epic Project series. Thank you.
All the best. Thank you.